You saved all of us. That's the part that still hits me the hardest. Not just because of what happened in that yard, not just because of the snake or the panic or even the hospital. It's everything that followed. The way that moment shifted something deep in me, cracked open parts one didn't even realize I had closed off. See, when you become a parent, your world narrows. It sharpens down to this single, blinding need to protect. And that day, when I looked out the window and saw a ranger slam into Lily, all I could see was danger. I didn't see the bigger picture. I didn't look at the moment from every angle. I just saw my worst fear coming true. But what I didn't see, at least not at first, was courage. Not mine. His .it wasn't some perfect, cinematic act of heroism. It was messy, frantic, terrifying. And yet, in the chaos, in the blur of fear and motion and screaming, he did what I couldn't. He saw the threat before it struck. He took it on himself, without hesitation. No second thoughts, no instincts for self-preservation. Just action. Just love, in the purest form. I replay it all the time. The stillness before it began. The eerie silence. That instant when my blood went cold, when time seemed to crack in half. And then Ranger's body moving like a battering ram toward Lily. The sound of her diaper tearing. The scream I didn't know I was capable of letting out. And then, after, the part that never makes it into the news stories or the retellings at the neighborhood BBQs, the guilt. The shame of what I assumed, what I let myself believe in those first few seconds. That Ranger had turned on her. That maybe the trauma had come back to haunt us. That I had brought something dangerous into our home. But that's the thing about fear. It doesn't leave room for nuance. It shoves everything good aside and floods you with the worst-case scenarios. And yet, while I panicked, he didn't do it for praise. He didn't do it because he was trained to. He did it because, somehow, he knew she mattered. That she was his person, his little one. And after it all, after the adrenaline faded, after the vet gave us the green light, after Lily had giggled again and Ranger had thumped his tail for her, I realized something that haunts and comforts me in equal measure. We almost didn't adopt him. David was nervous. I understood. A rescue dog, a toddler. It felt like too much unpredictability in one house. I promised him we'd be cautious. We'd do our homework. And we did. We visited shelters, asked questions, read behavior reports. But really, none of that is ever enough, is it? Choosing to love something broken, that's never easy. It's messy and risky, and the reward isn't guaranteed. But if we hadn't walked into that shelter that day, if we hadn't locked eyes with the quiet dog in the corner, if I hadn't knelt down and touched that gate, none of this would have happened. Not the fear, not the heartache, not the salvation. That's the twist, I think. The part that still stuns me. I thought we were saving him. I thought we were bringing him into our home to teach Lily about kindness and empathy. I didn't know he'd be the one to teach me. And Lily? She doesn't remember the snake. She remembers the snuggles. The way Ranger lays down beside her while she stacks her blocks. The way he wags his tail once, just once, when she walks into the room. She doesn't remember the panic, but I do. I remember every frame of it. And I'll never forget what it taught me. Sometimes, the ones who seem the quietest, the most guarded, are the ones carrying the most weight. And sometimes they carry it not just for themselves, but for us, too. Now, I don't tell this story for sympathy. I don't tell it to go viral or be the mom with the hero dog on the evening news. I tell it because it changed me. And because maybe someone out there is on the fence right now about love, about trust, about taking a chance. Maybe they're staring at something broken and thinking, it's too risky. And to them, I want to say maybe. But maybe it's also exactly what you need. Maybe that broken thing is the very thing that'll save you. I still look out the kitchen window sometimes, and I can see that yard. I can see Lily with her red ball, and I can almost hear the silence creeping in, that moment before everything exploded. And I still feel it. The way my heart stopped. The way my world almost shattered. But then I looked down, and there he is, Ranger, graying around the muzzle now. A little slower, a little stiffer, but still him. Still watching her. Still choosing her. And me? I've stopped questioning it. I've stopped doubting him. Or myself. Because when it mattered, when no one else saw the danger, when my daughter was in the path of something that could have ended everything, he acted. Not because he was told to. Not because it was his job. Because he loved her. And that, to me, is more than loyalty. That's family. So yeah, I was wrong about him. I misjudged him. And he forgave me with a thump of his tail and a tired breath. You know what I mean. He gave everything, without hesitation, for someone who barely knew how to say his name. And I'll never forget that. Now I want to ask you, what would you have done in my shoes? If you saw a dog throw your baby across the yard, would you have seen what I missed? Would you have trusted him, even after that? Was I right to doubt him? Or was that doubt the thing I needed to finally see the truth? Tell me what you think, because honestly, I'm still trying to figure it out. PHN 2. Ranger. The echo that stayed. It's been 3 years since that day in the backyard. The day everything changed. And yet, not a week goes by that I don't replay it in my mind like an old film reel burned into the back of my eyelids. People think that kind of trauma fades. It doesn't. It just gets quieter, like background static you learn to live with, until something turns up the volume again. For me, that something happened last spring. Lily had just turned 5. This wild, bright, unstoppable little girl with skin knees and opinions about everything from dinosaurs to what color the sky should be. She's loud, she's fierce, and she still calls Ranger her best friend. But time had been wearing on him. His gait had slowed, his appetite dipped, and the sparkle in his eyes dulled just a little more with each passing season. David noticed it first, the stiffness in Ranger's hind legs, the long pauses before he tried to climb onto the couch. At first, we chalked it up to age. But something in me, some mother instinct, the same one that failed me that day in the backyard, whispered, "Look closer." That we took him to the vet, hoping it was just arthritis. It wasn't. They said it was degenerative myelopathy, a spinal cord disease common in older German shepherds. No cure, just time. A slow, steady fading of the back half of his body. They told us to prepare, to start thinking about quality of life. That phrase, it punched a hole right through my chest that I stared at the vet like they'd just told me to start planning my child's funeral. Ranger wasn't just a dog. He was the dog, the one who changed everything, the one who gave Lily her future. And now, the future was quietly taking him. At first, I wanted to fight. New diet, physical therapy, custom harnesses, water exercises. I threw myself into it like a woman possessed. I wasn't going to let go, not after everything we'd been through, not after what he'd done for us. But then came the day when I saw Lily kneel beside him in the hallway, gently pushing his back legs into position so he wouldn't fall as he tried to stand. And she said, "It's okay, Ray Ray. I got you." That's when I knew. It wasn't about what I wanted. It was about what he needed. We built him a ramp out to the backyard. We moved his bed next to the sliding glass door so he could still watch Lily play. We stopped trying to fix him and just started showing up for him the way he had for us. It's funny. I used to think healing meant erasing the pain, getting back to before. But now I think maybe healing is just learning how to carry the weight with grace. Ranger taught us that. Even as his body failed him, his heart never did. One night, a few months ago, I couldn't sleep. I sat by the door watching him. His breathing was shallow. His ears twitched every now and then, like he was dreaming. And I just sat there thinking about all the quiet ways he saved us. Not just from the snake, but from becoming people too afraid to try again. Then Lily's voice came from the hallway, half asleep, half sure of what she'd felt. "Mom, is Ranger gonna go to heaven soon?" I opened my mouth, and no words came out. Because how do you explain to a child that love doesn't last in the body, but it echoes? That sometimes goodbye means letting go, but not losing. So instead, I crawled into her bed and whispered, "When he's ready, baby, he'll go. But we'll never be without him." "Not really." She nodded, like somehow she already knew. And a week later, he let us know that he stopped eating, stopped trying to stand. His tail didn't even thump when Lily sat beside him. The spark was gone, not dimmed, not fading, gone till we made the call. David stayed home with Lily. I couldn't ask her to say that kind of goodbye. Not yet. I wrapped Ranger in that same old beach towel, the one I used to drag his broken body into the car 3 years ago. This time, there was no panic. Just quiet. Just love. At the vet's office, I held his head in my lap. I whispered everything I'd never been able to say. Thank you for loving her when I didn't know how to trust you. Thank you for saving her life. Thank you for showing us what love should look like. You did good, baby. You did so good. He passed with his eyes open, watching me. No fear, just peace. And when I came home and told Lily, she didn't cry. Not right away. She walked to the sliding door, looked out at the backyard, and said, I think the sky's big enough for him. Yeah, that happened. We buried Ranger beneath the oak tree where he used to lie in the sun. David carved a small stone with Lily's help. It says he watched. He waited. He loved. Some nights, when the house is quiet and the moon is bright, I sit out there, on that spot. I listen. And sometimes, I swear I hear that single thump of a tail in the grass that I don't tell many people about that. But I'll tell you. Because if you've made it this far, you understand something most people don't. Some souls come into our lives and shift the entire gravity of the world. Ranger was that for us. And now, it's our turn to carry his echo forward. Oh, here's the part I'll leave you with. We all carry ghosts. Some of them haunt us, sure. But some protect us, even after they're gone. And maybe, just maybe, if we're lucky enough, we get to be someone else's echo, too. Now it's your turn. Would you have fought for a second chance like we did? Would you have taken in the broken, knowing the risk? Was it worth it? Let me know. I want to hear your story.